started on another side project. I've got a Miller-Matic 211. This will be the third 211 that we have purchased. Two in the main shop, one for out here at Charlie's. And I have the obligatory Harbor Freight Welding Cart. These things are spectacular. I know Harbor Freight expectations are getting higher and higher these days, but this is a truly good cart. Works very well with the 211. We're going to bring you guys along today. I hope you enjoy. The first thing we're going to get started on today is the welding cart. We will tackle the welder in just a minute. There is a couple of things I'm not going to be installing. One of them is these drawer dividers. They kind of work like this. They are for like TIG torch consumables. They go in the top drawer and they just kind of render the entire drawer worthless in my opinion. There's nothing that really fits in here for MIG welding. It's just kind of annoying. I leave those off. These out here at Charlie's shop, they may be handy. These are the lead hooks right here. They may be handy out here, but in my cramped shop, the main shop, these were just an annoyance. I took them off all of the carts that I put together. This will be my fourth cart. Really like this style. First thing I'm going to do is mount the rear caster tray and the bottle tray. The next thing we're going to do is install our rear larger wheels. They go on just like so. Then they provide you with a 10 millimeter bolt lock washer and flat washer. That goes right in here. Make sure you start these by hand. And we'll repeat the same step on the other side. Now we are going to simply flip the cart over. We have all the wheels installed. It's starting to take shape now. I'm going to now install the bottle retaining brackets. This is very easy to do. Won't do any more with those until we get a model on here. For now, I'm going to go ahead and install the lead hooks. Like I said, this may change in the future, but since we're in a larger shop, I'm going to go ahead and install them now. I'm going to now install the drag handle This will change in just a moment. I will take you over to the main shop and show you how I changed this. The 211 welder has an angled down MIG gun, and it interferes with this just slightly. So like I said, in just a moment, I'll take you to the main shop and show you how I mount this later on. But first, we have to be able to weld out here. I'm going to go ahead and assemble the consumable tray, even though I will be taking it right back out, just to make the video complete. You can see it gives you 9 4x4 spaces basically. In my opinion, it makes the drawer kind of worthless. Like I said, you can do it. I'm just not going to use it on my cart. Here you can see the cart fully assembled. I have the lead hooks installed. That may change. I know the drag handle will change. Everything works flawlessly. This will be the 4th cart that I have put together, and they have served me for many, many years. Let's run over to the main shop and I will show you what we will do to this eventually. Then we will go ahead and get started on the Miller 211. We are over here at the main shop. You can see we have the original Millermatic 211 on another one of the Chicago Electric welding carts. Flawless performance for many, many years. And here you can see the bent down MIG gun that the Miller 211 has. So I just take the handles and give them a quick little weld right out here, and that seems to work well. It's just a little tweak. These are a universal welding cart, but you know as well as I do, universal does not always mean they fit perfectly. Now that we have our welding cart fully assembled, let's turn our attention to the Millermatic 211. Go ahead and gently open our box. I want to bring you guys in closer. It's always exciting when you get to open up a box that has that badge on it. At least for me. Got some solid MIG wire, some tools. I even see a tip. A couple of tips, that's nice. Still have the unthreadable plug right here. This is how you switch from 110 to 220. Just line your arrows back up, and then you just screw this back up. Flawless performance out of this. Never once had an issue, and I've switched all the time with the original 211. We have the newer style Miller gun that is threaded. Many years ago when the 211 first came out and I bought one, they had a slide-on style, and I did a video, YouTube video, I will pop a link to right now, showing that this was a design flaw. I have caught tons of heck over the years from it. I could be mistaken. I think the video has like 50,000 views, something like that. I could be mistaken. I feel like I am responsible for having Miller change this. I could be mistaken. I even reached out to Miller and I said, hey, if you would redesign your gun and send me one, I would love to do a video for you because I feel like I might be hurting your sales. And they never contacted me back. But just a little history there. Trigger feels pretty good. think I'm going to zoom you guys out for this. That's pretty. Wow. Not a scratch on it anywhere. That's awesome. Has that new welder smell. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing and hit the like button. Let's go ahead and open up our side door. Boy, that is just nice. Get a pair of side cutters. We're going to go ahead and install our ground clamp. Made in China, but where else are you going to find it these days? Can't fault them for that. Wrench size is 10 millimeter. Just strip. Well guys, you can't make that stuff up. Our Chinese nut stripped out. I'll get an American. Okay, take two. The nut on this, I don't know how well you can see that, just stripped out. I get it, Chinese clamp. Save money where you can, but it's pretty frustrating having just paid a decent price for this 211, but it'll be okay. Try this again. Well, just went ahead and switched this out with a quarter 20. I will cut these extra threads off later. There we go. It does work. Let's go ahead and install our factory gun. Here we are at the back of the welder. I'm going to go ahead and install our regulator onto this clear, flexible line. There's a little cap here. I'll try to keep contaminants out of this if possible. There we go. We have that installed. They're still using this compression style hose clamp, which does have its own advantages. It does have its own advantages because it continually squeezes tighter. The hose clamp will just squeeze and then it's set where it is set. So I go ahead, pull the little plug out, and we will install our regulator provided AccuLock wrench, 11/16. You don't have to get too carried away, that being brass on brass. This is what I was talking about earlier. The MIG gun is at a downward angle and it makes the front of the welder levitate just slightly. It's very easily fixed. Previously in the video, I already showed you guys how I solved that. I do not have the appropriate plug yet in the shop. We will go over that a little later. So what I'm going to do is switch to the 110 side simply by unscrewing the plastic nut. Pull this off, and I always just keep mine right in the welder. Line up your two arrows right here and right here. Shove that in. You just turn your plastic nut up like that. And that is all you have to do to set this unit up for 110. It works extremely well. Now, using their AccuLock wrenches yet again, I'm going to get this set up to where I can burn the 2-pound spool that they gave me. It's a 5/16 nut, 1/2-inch wrench. Just a nylon lock nut here. Standard threads, so this can easily be replaced. You can pull this entire plastic casement off. I've already taken the liberty to unpackage the Hobart 30 thousandths wire that comes with the machine. Make sure you have your drive roller set to 30 thousandths. This very simply goes on like so. Flat washer, spring, and nut. This doesn't have to be overly tight. Just a little snug. Now I'm going to cut the wire. Keep your thumb back here because this stuff likes to go haywire in a hurry. So keep your thumb on the loose wire, feed it in, and then make sure it goes into the liner. Now that we have that all put in properly, let's go ahead and put our power to it and run the wire out the end of the gun. We're going to fire the unit up for the first time together. All of our lights came on, and our temperature light went off right away. That's a good sign. We can go ahead, remove our threaded nozzle. We have our wire set in the machine. Now we can go ahead and run the MIG wire out the end of the gun. Miller has an awesome little program for this. If you do not strike an arc after 2 or 3 seconds, it will turn the gas solenoid off and just run MIG wire. If you had a bird's nest happen or you're switching spools, things of that nature. So let's go ahead and demonstrate that. This will speed up after a couple seconds. That's a handy little feature. is. Came right out. I'm going to install one of the 30 thousandths wire tips. And this one is different from the old traditional style. It has a little extended flared tip here. So your older tips will not work in this newer gun. This may get switched out for a HTP America swan neck. I really like those. We can go ahead, install that. Doesn't have to be overly tight. We can install our nozzle, gas diffuser, they call it. Then we can pull our wire back to the desired stick out. Real quick, an old trick I learned from old Chucky 2009, who was deleted or canceled, if you will, is you want to be able to pinch your MIG wire. Be careful, this is sharp as a razor. It will go right through your skin. You want to pinch your wire and be able to stop the drag roller from pushing more. That's how you set your proper tension. And I can do that. By pinching hard, I can make this drag roller just spin out on the wire. Just a little bit of resistance. That's good. It's really good. Go ahead and drag this back, because again, we don't want to waste our wire. Unfortunately, tonight I do not have a shielding gas cylinder, so that's as far as I can take the Welder and Welder Cart project this evening. But through the magic of editing, you guys will have no lag. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. It's been a couple of weeks and I'm finally getting back to the welding cart and welding video. So I apologize if the video is a little bit choppy. I've got my brand spanking new 7525 Argon CO2 bottle here. We're going to go ahead and get it put on the cart, hook up our regulator, and then we're going to do a couple of quick little welding projects and we'll round out the video. We're going to bring you guys along. We're going to use our 1 1/8" wrench to tighten up our regulator. A little bit goes a long way here. It is a brass on brass connection after all. Then you do not want to stand in front of this. This is called the bonnet. There's a lot of pictures online. I've never had it happen to me, but when you open this extremely high pressure cylinder, these can explode off of here. And most of the time people will open them and then they land somewhere in their chest. Just a word of warning, you want to stand to the side and open this slowly. There, I even opened it a little too fast. Now we're going to go ahead and dial up our CFM. I like to run right about 15. It seems to work well. And there we're set. Of course, if you had a more windy shop, something like that, you can always dial up your CFM. I mentioned earlier in the video we were going to be taking these screws out of here and making this handle a little bit better. We are missing the second screw, but I don't want it cocked up like this working on my MIG gun its whole life. There is a gap under here, like I talked about earlier. So let's go ahead and pop this off, and then we're going to tackle our first welding project right here on the cart. Go ahead and polish off the paint here. We have everything shined up. We're going to go ahead and get our handle attached, and then we will do a test to make sure our drawer will function. Everything will be good, and then we'll move on to our second welding project. Got the rig fired up. We set on 30 thousandths wire. And we are on C25 metal inert gas setting right here at the 12 o'clock position. We'll see if those settings work for us. Got a tack weld. Now we'll check the other side. Drawer functions perfectly. And our MIG gun is setting perfectly as well. We've got plenty of room here. It's not pushing up on the housing like this. So we're going to go ahead and weld this out. Not the prettiest welds by any means, but perfectly satisfactory for a welding cart. So, another good welder from Miller. This is the third 211 that we've purchased, and they just work, plain and simple. Very easy to learn, very low learning curve. I obviously do not want to leave just bare metal here. So we're going to go ahead, just clean this quickly with a wire brush. And then we're going to paint it to make the project look finished. That looks pretty good. We've got it taped off here. I like to have hard lines when I do a quick repair like this. Makes it look a lot better than just shooting paint everywhere. Just have some gloss black Rust-Oleum. We have the welder put back properly. The paint turned out excellent. You can lift the entire cart. There's no wiggle in it, no wobble. It's perfect. I don't know if the little lead hangers will stay on there. Like I said, I took those all off on the other shop. It works perfectly. Our drawer is still functional. This is just how I set them up. I'm not saying this is the only way to set them up, but this is what I do. We are now ready to tackle our next welding project. Machine fires right up. We are on the 110 side. I already have a 50-foot 220 cord made up for this, but I'm just knocking out a quick project with it on the 110 side since it was already set up that way. Let's tackle our next project and then we'll wrap up the video. this is one of those projects that is going to be very satisfying because I've had the previous welder out here 4 or 5 times, and this is something I always forget. About 3 years ago, the ball popped off of this crappy old bench vise we got out of Crosbyton, Texas with this table, and I've actually been able to hold on to it. Normally these things kind of disappear, but after 4 or 5 years, I'm finally going to fix this. So, pretty anticlimactic project, but it's going to be very satisfying for me. So, we'll bring you along. It'll be the second little project we will tackle with the 211. It is not the prettiest by any means, but the project is complete. Very excited to have that finally done and to have another Millermatic 211 in the fleet. These are an awesome welder. I will drop a link below to one like this. I don't know how much longer they will make this exact model. They always update them, change them, things of that nature. If you enjoyed the video, I know it's been a long welder and welding cart setup video, please consider hitting the subscribe button. Leave a like, really helps the channel grow. I'd like to thank you all for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.